안녕하세요, 팔린입니다. 반갑습니다. Hi everybody and welcome to class today. Alright, today we're gonna do some grammar differences. So the first one that we're gonna do today is 어서 in comparison with 느라고, 느라 or 느라고. 어서 and 느라고. Now, if both are actually grammars to use when you're talking about reasoning, 이유, 원인, 이렇게 설명했을 때, when you want to explain reasons, right? These are grammars that you can use. But how are they different? They're in fact very different, and we use them very differently. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, but before we begin, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, if you've done so, let's go right away. 어서 숙제가 많아서 힘들어요. It's actually very tiring and very difficult and very 피곤해요, 힘들어요. Why? 왜요? 숙제가 많아서, because there's a lot of homework. Whereas when you use 느라고, 숙제 다 하느라고 잠을 못 잤어요. Right? I couldn't sleep. Why? Because I had to do all my homework. Okay? Well, I go through the examples and then we will pick out the differences and the similarities between both grammars later on. 사정이 있어서 모임에 못 갔어요. 모임에 왜 못 갔어요? Why couldn't you go to the gathering? 왜 못 갔어요? 사정이 좀 있었어. Right? Because I have got some reasons that is too complicated to explain. 그냥 사정이 있어서. 회의가 하느라 모임에 못 갔어요. 회의하느라 모임에 못 갔어요. Now, 회의하느라 모임에 못 갔어요. 회의하느라 모임에 못 갔어요. Because I had to do a meeting, I couldn't go to the gathering. Right? In this case, you can also say 회의 있어서 모임에 못 갔어요. But we'll talk about the similarities and differences later on. 도와주셔서 감사합니다. Thank you for helping me. Alright, why thank you? Because you helped me, so thank you. 도와주셔서 감사합니다. 친구를 도와주느라 늦게 왔어요. 친구를 도와주느라 늦게 왔어요. 친구를 도와주느라고 늦게 왔어요. 이렇게 add in the go. 친구를 도와주느라 늦게 왔어요. Why did you come late? Because I had to help a friend. Okay. 친구를 도와주느라 늦게 왔어요. Now, how are they then similar and how are they both then different? Okay, so let's look at it in detail. Now, first of all, the similarities between both is that they are both used for reasoning. 이유하고 원인, okay, for both reasons or the cause of why or certain things happens, okay, to explain or to answer the question why. However, they are kind of different. How are they different? Now, also is used more for cause and effect. Okay, mainly for cause and effect. Because this happened, therefore that happened. Okay, because I had a lot of work to do, therefore I'm very tired. Because I had some other reasons, therefore I couldn't go to the gathering. Because you helped me, so I'm very thankful. I want to thank you. All right. The second part of the sentence, the situation in the second clause, in the back clause, it's a result of the first clause. Okay, that's mostly when you will use 어서. However, when you use 느라고, it's actually a bit more when you're trying to justify your action or when you're trying to give an excuse. More importantly, if you notice the pattern for 느라고, I had to do this, therefore I could not do that. I had to do this, therefore it's like that. Okay, so it's kind of like laying a bit of blame because of that issue. Because of this, I had to do this, and therefore it becomes like that. So it's a bit more justifications and I would say giving excuse. 병명어, 핑계로 많이 쓰는 문법이에요. Now, what are the other similarities between both of them? Okay, so first of all, you do not use past tense in front, okay, and in front of the clause. 숙제 많았었어, 안 돼요. 배가 고팠었어, 안 돼요. Okay, so you don't use past tense in the front for both of them. Okay, now also in the back clause, in the second clause, you do not use grammars like 으세요 or 으쉽다. Okay, so these are the similarities between both. Now let's talk about the differences. First of all, 어서 also can be used when you're trying to express your thanks, okay, or emotions, okay, feelings, for example. In what sense do I mean? For example, because you have helped me, therefore I'm very thankful. Therefore, thank you, right? Because I was late, so I'm so sorry. 늦어서 미안해요. 늦어서 미안해요. Because I'm late, so I'm so sorry in that sense, okay? Now, also can also be used on adjective and verbs. 동사, 형용사 둘 다 오케이예요. However, in 느라고, you can only use it on verbs, okay? Not allowed on adjectives. And also for also, it's usually used to explain things that the listener do not know. You're trying to explain something that the other person is unaware of, is not known. For example, why this happened, because this the person didn't know what was the behind story, right? So because of this, therefore it was like that. Okay, so usually something that they do not know. Whereas on the other hand, 느라고, we have to be very careful that when you use 느라고, the subject that did the first thing in the first part of the clause and the person who did the whatever that's happening in the second part of the clause has to be the same person. Okay, which means it's the same subject. Unlike for also it doesn't really matter because it's just cause and effect. Whereas 느라고, like I mentioned, because I had to do this, therefore I could not do that. Because blah 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 had to do this, therefore blah 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 cannot do that. So the person in both clauses has to be the same. And then 느라고 also usually goes with verbs that requires some sort of determination or time. Okay, so for example, because I had to do this, therefore that happened, right? So that means the verb is something that you actually play a part in. Verbs like, for example, 잃어버리다, okay, to lose your wallet. 잃어버리느라고 안 돼요. 뭐 잊어버리다, 잊어버리느라고, okay, 죽느라고. These are verbs that we don't quite use. Why? Because you don't have a determination to lose your wallet. You don't have a determination to forget something. Okay, these are verbs that, you know, not by your intention. Okay, so when we use 느라고, again, like I said, it's something that because I did this, therefore something happened, right? So because I did this, so you need to be determined. You need to be able to control that you did this. So verbs like 잊어버리다, 잃어버리다, 죽다. These are verbs that are not part of your determination. We don't use them with 느라고. Okay. Also, the last thing to note about 느라고 is that it's usually used with undesirable events. What do I mean by that? Not the front clause, but the back clauses. Because I did this, therefore I could not do something else. Because I did this, therefore I was so busy. Because I did this, therefore I was late. Alright, so late is not a desirable event. Okay, so because of this, something undesirable happens. Okay, so that's what 느라고 is usually used for. Okay, alright, so let's look at our examples again earlier on. Earlier on, we had 숙제가 많아서 힘들어요. Right, it's very tiring because I had a lot of homework. On the other hand, we had 숙제를 다 하느라고 잠을 못 잤어요. Okay, I couldn't sleep because. Why you couldn't do this? Why couldn't you sleep? Because I had to do my homework. Right, now in this case, you can also continue the sentence to say 숙제 다 하느라고 잠을 못 자서 힘들어요. Right, it's very tiring for me these days. Why? Because I couldn't sleep. Now, why couldn't you sleep? Because I had to do all my homework. Okay, so when you use 느라고, it's because why couldn't you do this action? Why couldn't you sleep? And not because why are you tired? Okay, so the 느라고 is more to emphasize the reason why you couldn't sleep. 사정이 있어서 모임에 못 갔어요. I couldn't go to the gathering because I had some reasons. 회의하느라 모임에 못 갔어요. Okay, couldn't go to the gathering because I had to go to a meeting. I have a meeting. I had to do this meeting. Therefore, I could not do the other action, which is to go to the gathering. 회의 있어서 모임에 못 갔어요. It's fine. I couldn't go to the gathering because I have a meeting. That's also fine. But it does not explain, or it does not have the essence of that. I could not go this. I could not do this because I had to do this. Okay, so there's an emphasis of because I had to do this when you use 느라고. Alright, and lastly, 도와주셔서 감사합니다. Okay, on this grammar, you can't really use it for 느라고. But in this case, if you want to use 느라고, it's like I had to help a friend, therefore I was late. Right? You can't use being thankful behind because because of this, something else happened, and that something else has to be undesirable. Being thankful is not undesirable. Okay, so you can actually make a sentence like 친구를 도와주느라 늦게 왔어. 늦게 왔어요 is a undesirable event. It's not a very good outcome of what you wanted, expected, and therefore you can use this grammar. Okay, so that's the difference and similarities between these two grammars. Not to confuse it with 어서 is a very plain vanilla, simple reasoning, giving reasons, answering the question why kind of a grammar. Whereas V느라고 is something a bit more advanced, like you probably only learn it when you're in an intermediate level. Okay, so if you have learned something new today, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now we'll also be coming out with a few more series of differences between grammars that are within the category of reasoning. 이유하고 원인의 grammar, 문법 중에서 여러 가지 있는데 어떻게 다르는지 좀 더 설명할 거예요 in our other videos. Alright, so please remember to stay tuned, catch them as they are being released, and if you have any questions, remember to comment in the comment box and I'll attend to them as I see them. Alright, have a good day and see you. Bye bye.